welcome back to Purple Collar Life. In today's video, another little driving experiment on my 165-mile commute to work. So we just topped off with gas. We're going to take our little Ford Ranger. This is a 2010 with the 4-cylinder 5-speed manual transmission. We're going to see our fuel mileage after 1 day's commute. We'll talk to you along the way about some things I like and some things I wish were a little bit different on this Ranger. Reset our trip here to 0. We have 103,446 miles on the truck right now. Release that emergency brake. We'll be on our way.
Waiting for pairing. Paired.
I bought this with about 65,000 miles on it from older gentleman in Ohio who hadn't put that many miles on it, and that was probably 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more than 3 years ago. I did an early on review of this as the best daily driver to work, so I'll put a link to that video up above. So this 2010 Ford Ranger doesn't have a lot of the amenities that would make a long trip comfortable, but there are some things I've done to make this a better vehicle for my everyday commute. I've been making this commute for about 15 years. Like I said, about 3 years or 3.5 years of it have been in this Ranger. So I added this Bluetooth connector. This just plugs into the 12-volt accessory plug. A lot of people call that the cigarette lighter plug. And it makes you just connect your phone to the Bluetooth. It broadcasts a signal to a certain channel on the radio. In our case, I have this programmed as number 4. It's 88.3. Then any of the audio through my phone goes through my radio. I'll put an Amazon affiliate link to this device or one like it, and anything else I talk about in the video down below in the description. If you think any of these things would help you on your travels, please use those Amazon affiliate links. So with this, not only does it give me my Waze directions to and from work, and it's not that I don't know how to get there, but Waze, the app on my phone, is really helpful for letting me know if there's going to be delays, for rerouting me around traffic. It's just a really good travel tool app on your phone. So it broadcasts Waze through the radio of the truck. It also lets me listen to my Sirius XM radio, so I could pull the Sirius XM app on my phone, play it through my radio here. Much better than the AM/FM system that I have here in the truck. The other thing this Bluetooth connection does is let you make and answer phone calls. So if Jennifer were to call me, it would come up as a call on my phone. I can just hit the green button on top and answer that call and talk as if this vehicle had Bluetooth hands-free connection. So it's not built into the vehicle, but this device allows this older vehicle to have that technology. There is no cruise control on this vehicle, so you can see it's just maintained with your foot. As we get into town, I do a lot of shifting up and down through the gears, but then once we're on the interstate, you'll see it's in 5th gear the entire time, unless we have to really accelerate to pass around someone. This has a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder engine. I've had 0 problems with this engine. It runs quiet, it runs smooth, it's got enough power for the things I need to do. I've loaded the bed of this truck up with firewood, no problem hauling it around. You do feel a load in the truck, and you do feel a load if you're towing something, but you know, if you know how to use your manual transmission properly, you can tow within reason with this little truck, or haul goods within the bed. You saw the bed of the truck's pretty full right now. I've got 4 bags of recyclable aluminum cans that we will be dropping off at the recycle center at some point. You can see it's a nice quiet ride. This does just have crank up and down windows, which is one less thing to break over the long haul. We do have air conditioning. You can see I've got my defroster on here. Cruise would be one thing it would be nice to have on my long commute, but I'm pretty used to knowing how fast I'm going just by feel, and that's another thing that Waze helps out with. It's just a good digital read up here of your current speed and the speed limit. Made it to the 4-lane section of my drive here. See plenty of power to cruise at 65 to 70 miles an hour. Here's where you can kind of see that even on the 4-lane highway section of our commute, we're not just totally flat. We are in the hills of Pennsylvania here in northwest Pennsylvania. So you can see that terrain is up and down on the road in front of us. Typically going at 65 miles an hour on this road, I can maintain speed climbing these hills unless I need to pass someone if I have slowed down, or if I'm hauling something. Sometimes I may have to shift down on this particular hill, but we'll see here. I think I make it the whole way up and typically keeping 65 to 70 miles an hour. About the commute time, I leave my house between 6 and 6:30 in the morning every day. It takes me around an hour and a half to drive to work in the morning, and then I drive home. Usually get home between 6:30 and 7, depending on traffic, if it was a normal commute or if there was construction, or if I had to reroute around an accident, I may be a little bit later than 6:30 to 7. As far as the truck ride, it's a pretty decently comfortable ride. The seats aren't the most comfortable, but there's a little bit of side bolstering. It's not horrible. The problem with the regular cab is you can't recline your seat very far because it just hits up against the glass. Now, I sit pretty upright when I'm driving, so that's not a problem for me, but when Jennifer is the passenger, a lot of times she would like to be reclined a little bit more than this seat lets you do. Now, the further you slide the seat forward, the more you can recline it, but as you know, Jennifer is tall with long legs, so she can't slide the seat forward very far without being uncomfortable for her legs. So that decreases the amount she can recline the back of the seat. So unlike the F350 video, I can't give you any update on how many miles per gallon we're getting at any particular time. So we've gone 16.2 miles since getting gas. I have no idea what our mileage is until we get back home. We'll fill up the tank and we'll have to do it the hand calculated method based on how many miles we went, how much gas we got. So this is a nice little daily commuter truck. Like I said in the video years ago, I think this is maybe the best daily driver you could have. But after doing this for 3 years now, and like I said, I spend 3 to 4 hours per day in my daily commute vehicle. There's a couple reasons in the last few weeks or last couple months I've been tempted to update my daily driver. So let's talk about things in this truck first, and leave your comments down below if you agree with my thoughts, disagree, think I'm way off base, think some of this makes sense. A couple things. I'm getting to a point where I wish I had a little bit more comfort, and some things that I would like to have in a vehicle that I drive, that I'm in 3 to 4 hours a day. Definitely cruise control would be nice. In the wintertime, heated seats would be nice. Cooled seats would be nice in the summertime. I've been looking at some used but newer Toyota RAV4s, Toyota Avalon sedans, and Toyota Venzas. I was pretty close to pulling the trigger on a Toyota Venza. I think it's a super classy looking car, has all the creature comforts, has heads-up display. As you can imagine, driving 3 to 4 hours a day, it would be nice to have that heads-up display and that newer technology. It'd be nice to have blind spot indicators on the mirrors. I do have my little blind spot mirrors that are super helpful to see beside the truck. But it'd be nice to have that. It'd be nice to have lane departure in the control of the truck, so it lets you know when you go over the lane, or it helps you guide you within the lanes if you need that. So a lot of creature comforts that would be nice to have when you spend 3 to 4 hours in a vehicle to and from work every day. The downsides of a new vehicle would be having a payment. So I recently watched a video by Neil on Dig Drive DIY, and he said in that video that some of the reasons they're able to have some of the things they have and do some of the things they do, like their awesome pond build, is that they've never had a car payment. And there's certainly something to be said for not having a car payment. It's nice to just go to work every day, know that I'm going to work, and the money that I'm getting is to pay our bills, to do the things we want to do. It's not going to pay for the vehicle that I'm driving to get to work every single day. So that is kind of nice to not have a car payment on a vehicle. I also checked with my insurance company, and my insurance would go up, you know, like $100 a month if I had the Venza. So, all things to consider. Now this one might be, I don't know, a little bit of a hot topic. Not even sure if I'll leave this in the video, but I think I should talk about it. Another reason I'm considering getting another vehicle is because the closer you get to Pittsburgh, like I said, maybe this is all just in my mind, the closer you get to Pittsburgh from our rural Pennsylvania Northwest area, it seems like the vehicle you drive is somewhat of an indicator of your success and competency. So if you look out the front windows of the company I work at, where all the senior management and executives park, you're going to see primarily BMWs, Lexus, Teslas, and I think that's a perception of, people have a perception that successful people drive those high-end cars. Now, I'm not saying that that's 100% the case or that everyone thinks that, but I do think there is some truth to that, so leave those comments down below. And I'm wondering if when I drive a 2010 Ford Ranger to work every day, I park out back, by the way, not out front, but I wonder if there is a perception of less success or less competency than the senior management team, which I am not a part of, because of the way I present myself, including the vehicle I drive. It could be the clothes I wear, it could be my haircut, it could be the way I talk, my personality, it could be a million things. But I wonder if the vehicle you drive is part of that. Now, I'm not saying if I went out and bought a new BMW, parked out front, all of a sudden the company would say, whoa, Chad's clearly a successful executive candidate, let's make him a vice president. I'm not saying that's the case at all. But I do think there is some, maybe it's psychological or some subconscious thought to the vehicle you drive and its perception or its, the way it makes you seem as a successful, at least in corporate America, a successful business person. Leave those comments down below. I might be way off base. Let me know what you think. I can tell you, Jennifer says it should have nothing to do with the vehicle you drive. She sees a vehicle as just a way to get from A to B, as long as it's reliable, looks halfway decent. She doesn't really care what it is. She loves her 2010 Ford Expedition. It's a beautiful car. It's been super reliable. I think it's got 165,000 miles on it. So there you go. Some of the reasons I've been thinking about selling the Ranger and getting something else that is a little bit more comfortable on my 3 to 4 hours of being in it every day, has some more of the safety features like lane departure, blind spot, adaptive cruise control, has just cruise control period, would be nice. But the downsides are car payment, higher insurance, and a lot of times I like just having this little truck. So you'll see we're getting off the exit ramp here, and I'd be interested to know, so like right here I'm shifting down. I know some people say you should never shift down, you should just slow down and take the vehicle out of gear when you need to and then put it back in gear, that it creates extra wear on the clutch.
Exit 19A, I-79 South toward Pittsburgh.
But I have always shifted down as a way to slow down and keep myself in the appropriate gear for whatever part of the drive I'm on. So like right now I'm in third gear to go on this exit ramp behind this tractor trailer, what do you guys call a semi-truck? Do you call it a semi, a tractor-trailer, 18-wheeler? I found that depending on where you are and maybe where you grew up or how you grew up, people call those different names. I sometimes call it a semi, sometimes call it a tractor-trailer. I rarely ever call it an 18-wheeler.
Continue straight for 25 minutes to exit 85 to State Route 528 toward Evans City.
So one of the other things I wanted to mention about this truck, so this is a two-wheel drive pickup truck, and one of the things I was considering and thinking about a RAV4 or a Venza or an all-wheel drive Avalon is that there are some times in the wintertime when I drive to and from work that I'll drive the big truck instead of this one. And the reason is because I don't want to be stuck in this truck somewhere and get a whole bunch of snow that I'm not as comfortable driving in the two-wheel drive truck as I would be in the big four-wheel drive F350 or an all-wheel drive vehicle. So most mornings I can look at the weather and determine whether it's a good idea to drive this truck, which I do put winter tires on, studded winter tires, and I do put weight in the bed. So it does pretty decent in the snow, unless we get a lot of snow or unless there's ice or really slick conditions on my drive. It's a long drive in Pennsylvania in the snow belt from Lake Erie, so there is potential to get some snow in the wintertime on my commute. Most days though I can make that decision in the morning and decide if I want to drive the big truck or the little truck. But there are some times where I'm going to be away for a week or 2 weeks at a time, so I need to drive a vehicle to the Pittsburgh airport. I'll be flying, I'll be out of town, I'll be coming back, so I usually know the weather. You know, you can look at the weather for the day you're going to the airport. What it's hard to see sometimes, though, is what the weather will actually be when you return home. So between November and, let's say, February, March, it's always questionable to me if I have to drive to the airport, if I should take this truck and then get home and I might be in 2 feet of snow or a horrible blizzard on my commute home, which would not be as comfortable as being in the big truck. But when you park at the airport, and if you've parked at an airport lately, you know, not the best place to park a 1-ton crew cab long bed truck. The spots are tight, they're short. There is literally not a single good spot in the Pittsburgh airport to park my truck unless you park way, way, way out, and extended long-term parking takes you forever to walk to the airport from where you parked the truck. So that was another reason I was thinking about maybe updating to a small SUV. Most of the time when I drive on my commute every day, it's just me. You know, in this truck, probably 95% of the time is just me. Once in a while, Jennifer and I will go somewhere and take the little truck, but most of the time just me. So a small SUV would allow me to, regardless of the weather, going to the airport in January, drive the, let's say, RAV4 or Venza, have it parked for 2 weeks. No matter what the weather is, you've got a good, reliable all-wheel drive vehicle to get home. That's another thing that goes through my mind, but you know, there's other options too. I could always drive Jennifer's Expedition to the airport. I just hate to have her not have it for a week or two while I'm away on business. It's just sitting at the airport when she could be driving it, and it's the vehicle she's most comfortable driving, especially in the wintertime. I will add there's another thing that would be an advantage to having a small SUV, and that is space. So in the little Ranger, I know I take way too much stuff to work, but you can see I've got my backpack here with my laptop in it. I've got it shoved down in front of the seat. On top of the seat, I've got my camera, since we're recording today. I've got my lunch, I've got my water bottle, I've got my coffee the stuff when you're in a vehicle for 3 to 4 hours a day that you keep in a vehicle with you. Typical Pennsylvania summer here, road construction. We're on I-79 southbound going towards Pittsburgh. I always say that there's something that delays my drive every single day. In the summertime, it's road construction somewhere along my 165-mile commute. And in the wintertime, it's typically weather. There are routes that I never take when there's a chance of snow, or if it's raining hard, I take alternate routes because I just don't want to be on sections of Interstate 80 when the weather's bad.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Here you can see a semi tractor trailer got caught in the edge of the berm here, and it sucked them off the edge of the road, and there's the trailer laying on its side.
Reported ahead.
So the last 4 or 5 miles of my morning commute are like this. You can see we're stuck at a traffic light here, so it's shifting down back to first. There's another traffic light just up there. This is the last, it takes about, 10 minutes or so, this section of the drive to go 4 or 5 miles, constantly shifting between gears. So I'll catch up with you guys after my work day. We'll be on our way home. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll stop and get gas. We'll see what that mileage was for a daily commute. And you'll get an idea at today's prices how much I pay per day to drive to and from work. Most of the return home trip is the same as the way down, a lot of interstate travel. I did stop and drop off those bags of aluminum cans that were in the back of my truck. So on the scale, those cans weighed 28 pounds. Any guesses what I got for the 28 pounds of crushed aluminum cans? $14. So it's actually up from, I don't know, it's been years since I've taken aluminum cans in before. But the last time I took 4 garbage bags of aluminum cans, I remember I think I got $5 or $6 for it. So I was pretty surprised to get $14 of aluminum cans. We'll keep saving them up the next year or so and see if we can get another $14. So far we have traveled on this commute to work day 158.6 miles. We still have some miles to go here before we get to the gas station. We'll fill up at that same gas station that we did in the morning, and then we'll do our math to see what our fuel economy is in this 2010 Ford Ranger 2-wheel drive 2.3 liter fuel injected, 5-speed manual transmission, regular cab pickup truck. All right, so let's see how we did here. You can see our needle is just above the halfway point. We went 166.8 miles. So let's see how much gas it is and if it's the same price. When we were here this morning, it was $3.99. We got the 3 cents a gallon discount with our Sheetz card, so it was $3.96. Let's check it out. So you can see my Sheetz card took us down to $3.96 a gallon. I think these American racing rims make a huge difference in the look of this truck in the summertime. Now in the wintertime I put those stock OEM wheels back on with the studded tires, but in the summer that's a really sharp wheel. Cost me $24.78 to drive to work today. $24.78 for 6.2444 gallons. Let's go ahead and do the math. Okay. 166.8 miles divided by 6.244 gallons. There's our mileage for today's trip. 26.713 miles per gallon. And like I said, that cost us about $25. So we've got a little bit of the drive left to get home. There's a little bit of the drive to get to the gas station in the morning. So roughly $25 to drive to work today. So make sure you leave those comments down below what you thought of the gas mileage of this Ranger. I'm really impressed. You know, anything over that 25 miles to the gallon mark in a pickup truck is pretty good. Now this is a very small pickup truck, has a 4-cylinder engine, can't tow a whole lot of weight, but it's still got 6 feet of bed behind me and it functions as a truck when I need it to. So not a bad daily driver. Like I said in that video, maybe one of the best daily drivers, but after you've done 3 to 4 hours in a truck for 3 years straight, you know, every day you're going to work, I think it might be time for an upgrade. Leave those comments down below what you think. Keep this little truck, it's costing me basically nothing but maintenance and the gas in it each day, or look for something a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more safety featured with the blind spot mirrors, the lane departure warning, cruise control. Let me know those thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time.